All right, so a very good afternoon to you, and thank you very much for tuning into Metro TV. This is the Home Owners Show, and of course, I am Kwesi Afriyie. We are coming your way live from our studios here at Rage in Accra. We are live on DSTV channel 277, and this afternoon is going to be a very special one. I have two of my very important people, a senior colleague in the industry, and of course, an expert in the financial field, all seated here in the studio. We want to talk about how affordable is affordability when we talk about affordable housing. If you've monitored the program for some time, we've been talking about the security aspect of it. We've been talking about the rent aspect of it. We brought in several experts in all of these areas. And last week, we discussed how journalists should be able to support the agenda of a lot of people being able to afford houses. This afternoon, we are looking at the affordability of affordable houses. When we talk about the provision of social houses and so on and so forth, what is, or how much are you earning as a salary? And if you are earning, for example, 1,500, is there a possibility for you to be able to purchase a 2-bedroom house for the next 15 years? Or if you are earning 10,000 Ghana cedis, is that affordable for you? This is our discussions for this afternoon. I have strong faith in my guests afternoon, and I know that it will be a very exciting one. So you want to stick and stay with us. When we go for this quick break and we are back, I'll introduce to you my guest and we'll set the ball rolling. Stay with us. Right, you're welcome back from the break, and I'll be telling you about some of our partners and our sponsors in a short while. Of course, let me go to that right now so that when I come back and introduce to you my guest, I'll go straight to our discussion. We say Majel Enterprise is a pioneer of innovative building and construction materials with over 20 years of experience here in Ghana. We are notable for brands like Era, George Fisher Haken Plastics, Pearson, Ferrat Plastic, EMS Force, Interplast, Bosch Power Tools, Leo Pumps, and many more. You can reach us on 020-672-965 or 050-573-421. Majel Enterprise, if it's not quality, it is not Majel. Now, great shirts are worn by great men with integrity. That's the philosophy behind Sub-Saharan Fashion Brand. At Sub-Saharan Fashion Brand, our choice of fabric is inspired by our culture and heritage. The temperament of our clients contribute to the choice of fabric and colors to use. You can reach or call us on WhatsApp line 0264 017 512 0264 017 512. For all discounts, you can mention my name or you just mention Sami, and then you'll receive some good amount of discount. We are Sub-Saharan Fashion on social media, and you can join our show every Sunday at 3 p.m. We bring you exciting and educating information on the construction industry. And for sponsorship packages, you can call us on the numbers which are scrolling on your screen right now, 055-296-9397 and 0543-908-978. Our email is rainmedia.business@gmail.com or at Home Owners Show or Home Owners TV GH. That's on all social media platforms. A special thank you to Business and Financial Times for your support all the time, and of course for Construction TV for your support all the time. Let me now come back to the studio here and introduce to you my guest. I've already mentioned the topic to you. To my immediate left, well, she's a journalist, but I would mention what I've been given here first before I do the other introductions. She is the CEO of SNB Group. I think I will start by that. I will ask her what the SNB Group is. Odilia Ntiamwa is my guest this afternoon. She's a senior colleague in the industry, well versed in the field of journalism, especially in the area of business. When you talk about financial reporting, we don't have too many of her sorts here in the country. We are privileged to have her in the studio. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. We are happy to have you. And my very good old friend, Justice Ofe Jr. is the Managing Director of Sikadan Homes. And we are happy to be talking about homes and be having a Chief Executive Officer. He's a young man. If you see him, you may not think that he owns buildings and he owns homes. But this afternoon, we have the privilege to be talking to Justice Ofe about the construction industry and affordable housing. So thank you very much as well for joining us, Justice. We're happy to have you as well, and you're welcome to the show. Thank you. But Odilia, let me first of all ask you, I mean, this is off our radar, SNB Group.
Yes, so why I'm here is because since 2015, my husband and I started a construction business, which he was running, and he currently has given me the business to run together with my current media business that I do. So I'm no longer the journalist that
we know of, the senior financial reporter.
I'm not a businesswoman.
But I remember I'm interested in this, and I asked, I mean, for the purposes of the people that are watching us, not for some of us who are close to you. I saw a post of yours on Facebook some time back explaining how you started the business on Facebook with one referral, and then we've gotten to this point. This will be a discussion for some other time, how businesses will talk about entrepreneurship and so on and so forth. And how has it run so far?
Yeah, and that's how the whole construction business started. My husband didn't have any experience in construction. What we were both betting on was my popularity in the space, and you know how difficult it is in this construction space to trust anybody to give their money. So having worked in the media space for so many years, I sort of became the address or the betting point where if you knew my husband had taken your money for a building, you knew that I had an address.
You cannot run away.
I cannot run away, and so you could always come. And that's how we started the construction business, with just a Facebook post where we advertised that we had a different way of building, and it was basically taking a look at workers who actually, one, didn't have the time to go to their sites to go and build, and then of course who also didn't feel that they had the bulk money to go and purchase a house. We said, pay in bits,
let's do it for
and
you.
Let's do it for you. And then most of the time, those who have really gone into construction know that if you do not have great, loyal, truthful people, you can actually be paying for like twice the price of a house. And it was so obvious. We built a house at the time in 2017 for two, at the time, Barclays workers. The same cost that we built the house at the time was 450,000 Ghana cedis. The neighborhood, where we had done the building, somebody was selling the same house, the same structure, the same better quality for 1 million Ghana cedis. And so those are some of the things.
Right.
For me, I think that the whole housing space in Ghana is like overpricing, people really not doing the right thing.
I have actually requested for a paper. I'm going to note your 450,000 price down.
That was us at 2017.
That's us at 2017. I mean, this will form the basis of our discussions this afternoon, because we are talking about affordability.
Housing,
and then the $1 million price, Ghana cedi price, also down. However, let me ask Justice. I mean, I've known you and I know about Sikadan Homes. When we mention Sikadan Homes, for the purposes of our discussion, briefly, what is it about?
So we are a young company. We are using property management firm. So we are using technology and financial innovation to provide affordable housing solution. So we are in the rental space and we are in the home ownership space. We do renovation, we do building,
Do I need to have my money before I come to you to build for me, or you start building for
now.
me?
But our focus is using property management models and financial innovations to provide affordable housing solutions.
Property management, I mean, for the purposes of a layman, what does that mean?
So we manage properties for landlords.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you take the rents on the behalf of the landlords, facility, so
tenancy.
big corporate spaces and so on and so forth.
We vet tenants. We scout for tenants as well.
If you are building in this day and age, or as of 2017, a 3-bedroom house, how would that much cost?
As at now.
2017. Or let's look at it this way. Now, what prices are we looking at?
3-bedroom. It depends on
the location.
The location.
The land.
That's the land cost. It also depends on your finishing and furnishing.
Yeah.
But averagely, for the two of you, I mean, how much would it cost me to put up a 3-bedroom house? No story, single story. Okay,
so we're currently doing a 4-bedroom. At the time we started the project, we had budgeted 500,000 Ghana cedis at the time. That was about some 7 months ago. Then you notice that inflation
hits.
And then, of course, what was happening in Ukraine, COVID, I mean, fallouts of COVID, third or fourth wave and all of that. So material cost then doubled, some even tripled. Iron rods, the cost has gone up for like about 3 times.
Consecutive.
Yes. Just yesterday, I was talking to the guys at the site, and we had bought cement just about 2 weeks ago. We had rested the project to ask for more money from the project owner, and they just came, not 2 weeks, just about a week. They just came back. The cement which we had bought at the time for 57 cedis was now 60 cedis. And if we had actually done some projections with the man, in the long run, we may have to be going back to ask for more money.
I'm asking this because, I mean, now I'll work around the 500,000 for a 4-bedroom house. That's an average for, let's say, a well-meaning Ghanaian who is earning some good amount of money.
Yeah, and that is if the person is doing it themselves. Because if you have given it to a contractor, you will pay the contractor.
Of
and
course.
So your contractor money is not part.
And
Let's say you were doing it
they'll
yourself.
give it to you for
exactly. Yeah.
But now let me begin from the basics, where my question starts. If a 4-bedroom house is supposed to, and I'll start this with you, then I come to Odilia, it's supposed to cost me 500,000 cedis. And I'm earning averagely for maybe a banker who is a teller or who has a degree and probably a master's to be earning around 4,000 or 4,500 cedis. How affordable is 500,000 to me, property manager?
So, let's go back to the fundamentals.
Right, that's fine.
I mean, affordability is defined by the National Housing Policy. Right? So in Ghana, what is our National Housing Policy definition for affordability? Anytime you spend more than 30% of your income, whether you are renting or you are buying a house, it's not affordable.
If you spend more than 30% of your income into the project,
whether you are renting the house or you are buying the house, that housing package is not affordable.
No, I'm not getting this well. I have a friend who took a facility from a bank. In fact, his company was offering them, let's say, a mortgage to be able to buy a house. And the friend was worth 300,000. The house they were going for was about 420,000. Was that affordable for him or not?
So that would depend on the repayment duration. So if you are using 30 years to pay or 20 years to pay, definitely your repayment amount will be smaller. And when we pitch it against your income and it's less than 30% or 30%, then you are within the affordability space. But when it's more than that, then it's not affordable.
Please go ahead.
And I just want to add to what he's saying
by
saying that and no facility as it stands is going to give you 30 years to pay, and therefore it will be between the range of maximum 25 years and then 15 years to make that payment.
I think now it's even around 5 to 15 years.
Yes, it definitely is not affordable.
So that means houses are not affordable in Ghana. Is that the conclusion we are
so, I mean,
but okay, from the basics, I mean, you can take it from there too. Sorry, I didn't ask you that.
Yeah.
How affordable is affordable housing?
Yeah, so the last one I checked, that was some data that was collected in 2015 about one of the affordable homes that was being put together by government. The cost was going to be 99,000 upwards.
Yeah.
And that meant that it was going to be it was not going to be a single house. It definitely is going to be an apartment house, and it definitely won't be more than a chamber and a hall, or it would definitely not be, will not be even a single room. That, as of 2015, as of now, has totally changed. I don't know any affordable housing project currently that is taking anything less than 100,000 and above. I checked also with one company that was doing one on the Kaswa Road, and they were also looking at a cost around 100,000 at the time, and that was about 2-3 years ago. So as it stands now, anything that is called affordable, you should be looking at about 250,000 if it has to be decent.
For a single unit or a 2-bedroom house, for the 250,000?
For the 250,000, for me, it will be an apartment house. If you
not even semi-detached?
No, you see, it's the material cost. Material cost is what you will use to make those kinds of projections. Yes, and I will say that.
But that means, am I able to conclude, I don't know whether you conclude same, that there is no affordable house in Ghana? Or even apartments?
Let me give you this.
Please do.
Finding report. So in 2016, 2017,
right,
IBAN housing reports, right, by GIZ. The finding that will alarm you is that about 1% of the Ghanaian population as at 2016, 2017 couldn't afford the cheapest mortgage, about 1%. That is the IBAN housing report in Ghana by GIZ. What it means is that about 99% Ghanaians couldn't afford to own their own house through the former mortgage payment model.
99% of Ghanaians?
But 1%.
But that's dominant.
That's 2016, 2017. But look at the Ghana housing deficit. It's now around 2 million.
Yes, 2 million.
Right? Yeah, so it's getting worse in terms of if you project this 99%, we'll be looking at about half of the population, 0.5% of the Ghanaian population, can't afford the cheapest mortgage now. If you project that research.
I'll just add to that information. The IBAN report was also talking about the fact that the sort of real estate business that is done currently, only 1% of the Ghanaian population can actually afford those kinds of houses that are being built by the real estate companies. And so if somebody had to get a house from any of those, it will be difficult. Yet, they are also the ones that have the largest numbers in terms of development because government cannot keep up, you know. As it stands currently, there are about 65,000 units that have been completed, some by SNIT, some by UNOP, some by
State Housing Corporation.
Exactly. All of those. It doesn't look like they have all been picked
Odile,
up.
let me ask you, what exactly is the issue? Is it an issue of the fact that our salaries are too low as a country? I mean, our income levels are very low and cannot keep up with the pace of the cost of materials, or it's rather the cost of materials that are too high? Somebody believes that, and I've had an encounter with a real estate owner before. Somebody believes that the real estate owners also overprice their houses. They are looking for abnormal profits. Yeah. So what exactly is the issue?
Yeah, especially when we started doing some of the construction, then we got to know that some of the real estate companies have overpriced the houses. Apart from that, we earn very little in this country. I had a friend who was coming from Kenya who wanted a job in media in Ghana, and she was looking at least $2,500 a month. And
as a media man,
as a reporter.
As a reporter here in Ghana, which media station?
At the time, even me as a manager was not earning that. So
I mean,
I had a good laugh.
Right.
But that is the reality. Our salaries are very little. Our salaries are very low. I was reading a bit about also how we could have used our pensions to also serve as some collateral. I mean, if your salary is low, your pension will be low. And so it definitely won't even be a very good alternative for the kind of housing cost that we currently have in the country. Is everything lost? I'm not sure that, I mean, we are at a loss. I think that we will need to sit down as a country and really get to know exactly the direction. We've done it before. The SNIT houses in Adenta were all also done,
up, of course,
you know, by government, and people actually went in there to occupy. If it's a priority, we as a nation will have to sit down and look at how we want to. If I start work and I need to move into a single bedroom apartment, and it's even an apartment building from day one, how do I prepare myself for it? Because look, the stress of even not owning a house and constantly coughing up to rent is a big issue. My younger brother works in just Ivory Coast, where he is a lecturer, and he has gone to get a rent, and the rent he's paying is 2 months rent in advance. You pay an extra 2 months for spoiling anything in the house.
Security deposit?
Yes, security deposit. And then I think 1 month as something else. So the maximum you pay is
5 to 6 months.
5 to 6 months. Now the issue is, does everybody even need to have their own house? If we had a good rental system, then there will even be no need for us to have this conversation for a long time, because then everybody knows that it's not everybody that should be able to build a house. You get it. But based on the kind of rents we are paying, looking at the length of time you will have to pay rent, is one of the reasons why everybody now wants to own a house, so that you can have the landlord wahala at the back, because it's just too expensive.
Exactly.
You can, for a decent area currently, you shouldn't pay anything less than 2,500 Ghana cedis.
And that's a point I am coming to. I mean, it's one of the major issues. So from the things you have mentioned, listed overpricing, lower earnings, pensions, mindset as well, and rent issues. Are we able, I'm still on the affordability, as Ghanaians, if you look at the income rates that we have in the country, and you're a property manager, so I mean, apart from the offices that people are renting from you and so on and so forth, individuals are also renting. Per our income earnings, are we able as a country to rent?
Yes, I mean, that's why let's address...
Or is it affordable for us?
No, it's affordable based on your income.
So but generally, is it affordable? If only 1% can build, then housing is not affordable. Rent,
yeah, it's not affordable, and it's a global issue, not only in Ghana. When you go to UK, when you go to US, they have similar problem. But you know, we should have a national housing policy that defines or that supports the people within the low income bracket, right?
Yes.
So when you talk about social housing, you mentioned one of the government's programs, the Adenta SNIT flat. It's very affordable. People were buying it for the past 5 years. They were buying it around 200,000, 150,000, 3 bedroom, 2 bedroom. You get it? Now, so if you leave affordability in the hands of private developers, you have to ask a question: what is their source of funding? Probably they borrow from the banks.
The banks.
Yeah.
And the interest rate, they don't have a lot of physical space to give you a proper repayment model. Yeah. So you have to go back to the bank and take a mortgage to come and buy their house, which is also expensive. You get it? So
I get it.
The problem is fundamental. we, Sikadine Homes, we have a product called Smart Rent. We help renters to pay monthly. So it's a non-loan policy that enables renters to pay monthly. But back to the question. The problem is systematic. It's a national problem. We can only address it if government has a posture. They should have a national housing policy. I think they have.
There is one currently before Parliament.
Yes, and currently they want to amend the Rent Act.
Yes, that's the Rent Act I'm talking about.
To empower renters to pay monthly, thereby shifting power from the landlords to the rent control department. It's going to be difficult.
But is that not within the existing act?
That's 6 months.
It's about the enforcement of the law.
Yeah, that's 6 months.
I mean, if we pass the new act, or we do the amendment, and this situation still remains the same.
It won't change if the rent control is not empowered.
Exactly.
The last time I did some stories on the rent control, they don't even have the staffing. We
played that here. We played that here, I think, about 2 months ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. We played that story you did here. That rent control doesn't have offices across the country.
They don't.
They don't have even computers in their offices, and they don't have staff to even attend to issues of landlords and people that are renting.
So there are problems. We should look for solution. And the solution have to come from a national perspective. Do you understand? So when you go to other countries where they are proper, when you go to UK, for instance, people within the low income bracket are not able to afford the market price. So they have to go to their local authority, and through registered social housing providers, they are able to rent 70% discount. So it means that on the market price, they are not able to afford to rent. So what they do is that they sign up on the social housing providers, and then they rent apartment at a lower price. We have it in Ghana. Do we have it in Ghana? Yes. Because when you read the national
I don't know, and I haven't seen any of them.
When you read the national housing policy,
yes,
we have a similar structure.
But that's on paper.
That's on paper. Whether we are enforcing it,
I mean, I haven't seen social housing.
Yes, that is why. Anyway. That is why I think the revolution in the housing industry will have to come from stakeholders, like players like us, property managers. Property managers must be financially strong enough to take a buyout from landlords. For instance, us, we can buy maybe 5 years rent from a landlord and rent it to the low-income population and enable them to pay monthly, right? If I'm able to do a buyout from a landlord as a property manager, I'm able to negotiate it because I'm paying for a longer period. And I'll come and sell it to you at a cheaper price. And I can even allow you to pay monthly. So we don't have to just shift all to government, but there are a lot of stakeholders that have to come to play to make affordability. The government
has the responsibility of empowering these stakeholders to make sure that, for example, your operation, which obviously will be captured by the Act, is properly enforced. You wanted to make a point.
I was going to ask him where he's getting the money from. Because in our current economy, we do not have any long-term money sitting there. The banks don't even have it. And that is why agriculture, for example, you do not have a lot of investments going in there, because all the facilities that are sitting in the bank is really short-term. And so for me, I think that one of the things government can do in partnership with the private sector is for us to find long-term financing. Because once we have long-term financing, then people know that, because even if you are going for a mortgage and consistently you are having inflation, you don't work in dollar terms.
Exchange rate is running out of space.
And you constantly have to pick your cedi, go and change it into dollars for your dollar pegged mortgage. Then if you do not have any cushion or any support, you see that every day you are stressed because the money won't just add up for you to go and make those kinds of payments. So long-term financing is one of the key areas I think we should be looking at.
So I don't know whether long-term...
we came up with the development bank.
Right, right.
So that the development bank on lends to the commercial banks for some of these.
So this will lead me to a point. This is a very interesting one. We have had ADB in the system for, I mean, God knows how long. People in the agricultural sector are still struggling. ADB is playing very much in the commercial sector, dealing very much in the commercial sector, and peasant farmers are struggling to find finances to be able to expand and get into. When we have AFTA, for example, here, that we need agricultural industry people to be able to expand and take advantage of AFTA. We still have ADB playing in the commercial area with the building and construction industry, for example. But the development banks issue is very important for me. And I'm asking, I was going to ask, first of all, what are the issues you think we should resolve? You have mentioned, you have taken the wind out of me, and the first point for you is the long-term finance. And I'm going to ask, what other things should we do as a country to be able to bring us to equilibrium when it comes to financing? But let me quickly announce that we have our numbers on the screen. And you know that I always allow you to ask your questions and send in WhatsApp messages as well. So if you're interested in the discussion or if you have any concern, please do well to send us your WhatsApp messages. There is a line for the WhatsApp message, so please don't mess it up. Make sure that you are sending WhatsApp on the WhatsApp line. And then when we open up the phone lines, we will allow you to call, ask your questions, and get our panel to answer some of the questions that you have. I'll now come back to the studio, and forgive me for that interruption.
I think that one of the key places that has to be also really regulated is within the same construction space. I think the regulation there is not very stringent. Once we do not have stringent regulations, pricing will just be done anyhow. And it is one of the key things that makes housing expensive in this country, believe it or not. Like I told you, at the time we were building that house as East Capital Properties, we were having 450,000 as the cost, including the land at East Legon Hills. And the same place.
For 450,000?
Yes, at the time, 2017. And the same place was going for 100,000. It was secret roofing. So secret roofing is not the roof that shows. And so the materials is actually less as compared to the proper roofing.
The ones that you see.
Exactly. So let's say for your secret roofing, if it is 250,000 you have to spend for secret roofing, you probably will spend about 400,000 for the proper kind of roofing. The same structure, the same materials, probably even better materials at our site. Yes, because our model is this, that we even bring to the client, if it is socket, we bring you 3 kinds of sockets. We tell you the cost of the socket. Do you like it? Which one do you like? Once you choose the one you like, we make the purchases for you. And you sort of like we build the house for you according to your specification and your taste. So if somebody is selling the same property twice the cost, because it was the same plan, twice the cost, you definitely will say that this is not affordable. People cannot afford. That sector needs to be regulated. There has to be some level of regulation in that space. Otherwise, we'll just be chasing the wind. What it will mean is that government will probably find some cheap money from somewhere, which of course later we will pay for as a country, but
through taxes.
But in the long run, when that money is collected, it will just be put in private people's pockets, you know, or even if it's a PPP, it will go into some people's pockets because the costing is just way out there. Some regulation needs to be done in that space.
I'd allow you to talk on the same point, the regulation which leads to the poor pricing, but I quickly have to take a break. When I come back, I have an example of a real estate owner that I had to do a documentary for. I was sitting before him when he doubled his price. So he saw, a competitor, which he believes has better quality and better standards than, selling higher than how much he was selling his. So he asked his marketing manager, discard all our brochures and flyers, print new ones, and put this price on, which was double the price I was going to work on for him. So I'll come back to you on the regulation. We'll take a quick break. This is the Homeowners Show, and I am privileged to have Odelia Ntiamwa and Justice Ofe here in the studio for the discussions afternoons. When we are back, We would allow you to join in the discussion. Stay with us. Right, you're welcome back from the break. It's been an exciting discussion here in the studio. New dimensions coming up. I had early on stated that Justice would make a comment on the regulation and other things that he think we should have a look at to be able to address or bring in the equilibrium of making houses affordable. The question this afternoon is whether houses in Ghana are affordable or it is a matter of standards of living. We have gone into the Ghana living standards some time back, and so on. So we'll leave that for now. But let me go through these messages and then I can come to you, Justice. This one says, hello, my net salary is 2,600 Ghana cedis. Which institution can give a mortgage to low earner like me? I am not government worker. Jane Tema sent in that one. I have a land and struggling to start my project. Any advice? Well, Odilia is here. I'm sure she will advise. And when you contact us, we'll direct you to Odilia as well on how you'll be able to put that up. My name is Ni from Off-Town. I earn 2,500 Ghana cedis. Can they help me to get their mortgage? And also, where are the location of their houses? Well, that is also noted. My panel will take due note of that. Good afternoon. Very interesting program. But unfortunately, the rent control office is made up of the landlords themselves. So we go there and they see tenants as sabotaging landlords, so they don't help. How can the government use the rent control board to make renting houses affordable? Because they make more money giving rooms for 2 years and above. Success Morrison in Kumasi sent in that one. Brian is my name. State Housing Company of Ghana is quoting product prices in dollars and you pay in prevailing rates. Do you think that a citizen can pay for these fixed assets with salary? Please, State Housing Company should make the houses affordable to ordinary citizens, not to politicians. I agree, 100%. I need partnership to complete a building in Accra. Can I get an assistance? Well, my panel is here. There really isn't any affordable house system in Ghana, especially in Accra, for even middle-income earners. Eradi sent in that one. The number is on the screen. When we open the phone lines, I'm sure in the next 3 minutes or so, I'll open the phone lines to you. But let me start with you, Justice. Yeah. You may address some of the questions that came as well, and then when we get to you.
Yeah, so I'm looking at a solution now. So there must be a national position or a solution to this. I'll go in for a social housing program whereby government are able to develop incentives for private developers. And also, government, through local authorities, should have a social housing scheme whereby the local authorities can buy out from the landlords at a cheaper rate and allow low-income population or low-income household to rent from the local authority monthly. That is being done in UK, US, and other countries, right? So we need a social housing program to actually support the low-income population. We cannot solve all the problem within a year or 2 years or 3 years. We need programs to tackle all these issues. Now, the private developers may inflate their figures. Genuinely, it's all because probably their source of funding is maybe a direct funding from a bank with a higher interest rate. So we are looking at also government policy that reduce importation of materials that are used for building. Probably when you lift those import duties from it, it makes cost of materials a little bit cheaper for them to use. Also, there must be a conscious effort for us to produce the materials that we use for building in Ghana, right? So these are the key things government can have control or can position themselves to bring into the market to have the housing solution. Probably we are looking at private developers who are doing luxurious buildings for a market that is too small. we have about 99% who cannot afford to buy houses, right?
That's a
So
dominant
why are
report
they
for
not
me.
going there? Why are they not building affordable houses? Because their source of funding are not, so they have to end up building luxurious houses for high income earners for them to purchase. So we are looking at a big space. What can we do? Government should do the three things I've mentioned. Then people like us, as private entities, should also look for funding that are cheaper, right? To buy out from landlords and offer them to tenants at a monthly rate.
Let me come to you now on the same point. And there were some messages that had come, I think, specifically for you. Somebody had said, how can they get collaboration? And another one is land struggling to start a project and advice them.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times people also put a lot of pressure on themselves to complete the property. The moment they start, they must finish it within a certain short period of time. And of course, if they cannot do the monitoring, you can find workers who also will come to your site. And what they will do is, when you say you want 10 bags, they will say they want 10 bags of cement. You give them the 10 bags of cement, and because you are not there, they use 5, and then 5 goes somewhere else. So for this person who has the land, they can reach out to us. You don't have to do everything over the day. You can decide to project and give yourself, let's say, in the next 1 year. I say 1 year because for us as people doing the development, we're looking at inflation. Once inflation kicks in so hard, then the cost even goes up again. But of course, you can let us do the property for you. We start building for you within a certain time frame. So that's basically the thing I would like to say. For those who have 2,500, we also have a partner who has another scheme called the rent-to-own scheme. And so what the rent-to-own scheme does, and they don't have many sites, it's all around, what's the name, that community beyond Tema?
Pram Pram.
Pram Pram, great. Anio Sabote's place. Yes, so there's...
the chief fisherman, your name is being mentioned here.
Yeah, so basically, they also have the rent-to-own policy. Now, what it is that you pay every month like a rent. And then when you're able to pay 20% off the property, you get to move in. And then you keep paying until you are done paying. Wow. So that is also a scheme that is ongoing. So it's also an alternative that people could also go for.
Right, so let me put across the phone number. It's on our screens right now, 0553 000035. You can reach us on any of them or on our number now and then share your concern with us. I only have 5 minutes to spare. So when you do call in, please, in 30 seconds, you tell us what your concern is or your contribution, and we will gladly take it up. Our issue this afternoon has been about how affordable are our affordable housing systems in Ghana. Is it a matter of we having very low income, or the prices of these houses are too high? I mean, we are having divergent views. I understand we have someone from Kanishi. You can... Harris, kindly let me hear you in 30 seconds.
Hello.
Right, Harris, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us.
Afternoon, point of correction. I'm from Osu, right?
From Osu, right. Thank you very much.
Anyway, I'm very grateful to join this conversation. I'm seriously in need of house. And I want to suggest something to my dear lady there. Is there anything that the government can do with workers who, both private and government, who are working, that they are paying their pension and that kind of stuff? Is there anything that they can use their pension as a collateral or something like that to get a house to pay out of their salary?
Okay, so thank you very much. Odilia had mentioned that earlier, but of course we'll get more explanations from her for your direct question. Thank you very much, Harris from Usu, for joining us in that day. You can join us as well on the phone line that we have announced, and we'll gladly take it for our guest this afternoon. Is it about our salaries or it is about the prices of the houses?
Yes. Okay, so what's your question?
Let me read this before I come back. There is this one. This says, okay, amicable. I'll tell you. Amicable says I should ask for your number for him, and he works with a student loan. I don't know if you want me to give that details out. Good afternoon, my brother. I like the topic you are discussing today. Can you please help me get Odelia's contact? She's heard it herself, so I'll get it for you, my brother. I hope you are doing very well anyway. Paula from Sunyane, let me hear you before I read my other text. Paula, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm a Cassius calling from Sunyane.
Right, let me hear you.
I want to ask the CEO a question. I want to ask the CEO a
Please
question.
go ahead.
I want to find out that do they have offices in Sunyane? I'm in Bron Hafo. We, the government workers here, we are having rent issues and those kind of things. So if they could turn their eyes back to Sunyane and make sure they will have some development.
Right, thank you very much. So this is a question to the Chief Executive Officer of Sikadan Homes, whether they have properties that the schemes he had spoken about on how they support or they buy out and rent it out to people, whether you have properties or you have business dealings in the Bono region, which is Sunyane precisely. Let me do 3 and then I'll come back to the studio. Talking about affordability, please, what about the use of hydrofoam or hydrofoam? I don't know what you exactly are referring to. Hydrofoam interlocking blocks. And if there are any disadvantages in using that type of blocks. Lawrence from Bawi, that's a very technical question.
The prefab material.
Okay, right. I am Ifwa Blay inside Hacho. Ifwa, how are you? I want to know if there are packages for low-income earners around 1,000 Ghana cedi monthly. Hello, Mr. Host. My name is Amwakwata from Kufuridia. Well, Amwako, please, the word affordable should be scrapped. It is deceitful. Let's be honest with people. My final call from Tema. Let me hear you. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. Can you lower the volume of your set and talk to us, sir?
Hello?
Yes, please do talk to us.
Yes, my name is Alex. I'm calling from Tema.
Right.
Oh, sorry. At the back of my house, some people are playing music.
That's
Hello?
fine. Please go ahead.
Oh, okay. Affordable houses. The young man at the stadium, he made mention of, the economy of UK and Ghana. Mm-hmm. We want to ask the salary workers at the UK and the salary workers in Ghana, are they the same? Are they receiving the same salary? No. So if somebody can afford affordable house in the UK, Ghanaian workers cannot. So we should have gone to that because our economy are not the same. People are hungry. How can a salary worker go in for that money or that housing? It is not possible. And our president is misusing the money. Those people, their president is not misusing the money. That is my point.
Right. Thank you very much. I mean, I expressed some of these concerns myself, and I side with you because I look at all of this from the angles of our current inflation rates, employment or unemployment rates, and it now ties into accommodation. So the macroeconomic indicators are really basic to all of these things that we are discussing. So if you want to look at it from the standards of living here in Ghana as against that of the UK, but he's here himself.
Let me just
let me.
I was saying that the issue is a global issue. In the UK, in other developed countries, they have affordability challenge. So they have launched a social housing program for the category or the category of population within the low income bracket to support them. So we can do a similar thing in Ghana. So that was what I was talking about. Right, so somebody mentioned Sunyane, they need a place.
Yes.
We don't have houses there, but we can sign you up on the smart rent.
Right.
To enable you pay monthly.
Right.
But let me give this advice. currently...
That will be your final point.
Okay,
then I would allow
that's fine.
Odelia to finalize.
So our
for
advice,
us. Yes.
our advice that since we are finding our solutions to all this complex problem, our advice that when you are making decision to rent, you look at two important things.
Right.
Right. Location and the amount of rent. That is one. Two, your income bracket. Right. So, for instance, you shouldn't be looking for houses that you cannot afford based on your income. Don't do that. Right. But in case you need help to enable you pay monthly, you can call Sikadine Homes and sign up on the smart rent as well. But anytime, to address the affordability issue, anytime you do a calculation and you are spending more than 30% of your income on rent, or you are buying a house and you are spending 30% or more of your income on buying the house monthly, paying monthly, then that housing package is not affordable. And that is the definition we should go by.
Right. Let me come to you now. I mean, for your final advice, and I think there had been one or two questions to you.
Yeah, what I will say also is that once you're working, if you're working in a good place, don't wait till you're nearing retirement before you start putting something down to get a house. Now, what it is that get a land first, and then sort of when you are able to gather money for some time,